Hey there. My name's Danny Leibrandt, and I'm the founder of Pest Control SEO, where we grow pest control companies with SEO. Today, I am with Danny Barrera, who is one of the top people in the local business agency space. So glad to have Danny. He runs Contractor Click. He's been running it for almost 7 years now, and has kind of transitioned from different agencies. And Danny's stats are unbelievable. I already knew he was a big dog in this space, but what he just told me, he has helped at least 550 clients in, all kind of the home improvement contractor space, and has generated them over $250 million in revenue. Unbelievable. I'm just so glad to have Danny on here and, just learn from him, learn about his journey, and, see what we can learn in terms of the agency space and, how to grow as a local business. So thanks for coming on, Danny.
Danny, it's an honor being here. Thank you very much for the opportunity and for the invitation.
Awesome, man. Yeah, of course. So let's, like I told you, I want to start at the beginning of your journey. So I think you got into digital marketing around 20 years ago. Can you tell me like exactly when you got into digital marketing?
It's been a long time. I was sharing with my team today. We on Mondays we do a company-wide huddle, and it's it's always great to go back in time and be grateful for the things that got you here. And this has been a great journey. But I used to work at Fox News Channel, so this must have been somewhere around 2007-ish, 2008. And I was working there, and in the IT department as an IT analyst. I did have the fob to go into the green rooms and all of that. So anytime a celebrity would come through, I would get the opportunity to, just go behind the scenes. So I got to meet a lot
Mm,
of cool people there. And there was this one time, Fox News had just launched the Fox Business Network, the FBN, back in the day. And there was this guy talking about e-commerce, and he looked like a simple guy. He was not dressed up, just talking about the business. And man, I had no idea digital marketing or the internet marketing
mm,
existed at the level that it did at that point in time. And one thing led to another. I got a chance to have a quick conversation with that guy. And anyways, he's like, man, you got to find, if you don't have your own product, because I'm like, how do I get started? I just need 2 minutes. It sounded really interesting. How do you get started? Where would I start? And he's like, if you don't have a product, then you got to find a wholesaler that would be willing to drop ship. And now, back in the
mm,
day, it's not like today. Like Shopify, my son has a Shopify store. He's selling about $500 a month in
mm.
products. Back in the day, man, just to get approved for the processor, I had to get a license in Delaware. So that was my first LLC. Anyways, I launched the store. I started out with an adult toy store because I'm like, you know what? Probably a lot of adults, want to have the pleasure, and they just, and I'm like, they probably want to be discreet about it. And that was my first thing. And I don't need to touch the product. Anyways, it was interesting just what I didn't know about getting into that world and industry and the marketing and advertising. And back in the day, man, Google Ads was dirt cheap. I spent a lot of money. I spent, I don't know, I was spending, for me, it was a lot of money back then, a couple of thousands of dollars a month on Google Ads. And I started, getting sales. Now I'm celebrating, but at that point in time, I didn't know what I was doing, man. I was losing my, I was making money, but I was also losing it on the back end. Before I knew it, I had to learn how to do SEO because I'm like, okay, so if I'm getting these sales right now for all these products, and these are the top selling products, what if I just get the website to rank higher there? And that was like, the beginning and what got me started. I hired a lot of different people to help me out, and some got to mentor me and coach me throughout the process. That was the starting point, a painful
Mm.
starting point. After that, I went and opened up a fragrance store. I partnered up with someone else. Um, I didn't really end up making millions of dollars like I thought I would in those first two ventures, but it definitely gave me the reps I needed. And one thing led to another. I started e-commerce, learned how to sell to strangers online, I didn't build an email list. I should have built email lists for both of those e-commerce. I didn't, but I had the customer records and they were valuable. And then I went and started selling websites to people that knew that I was doing e-commerce. They started asking me, hey, you seem to know IT, and can you do a website for me? One thing led to another. And that was back in the day, Long Island, New York days. And at some point in time, I was going through a rough patch in my relationship with my ex-wife at that point in time. And I said, hey, it's time to try something new. So let's go to Florida. So I'm like, I'm making a little bit of money serving local clients at this point in time. I had gotten rid of the e-commerce stores. And I said, you know what? I got some savings here. Let me move to Florida, tax-friendlier state. That was a smart move on my end back in the day. And sure enough, we moved to Florida. And as soon as we landed in Florida, it looks like every client I had started leaving. And I didn't know how to sell. So now I was faced with the reality of not knowing how to retain clients. I just knew how to do, SEO, but as far as reporting, scaling, account management, none of that stuff. So I had a couple of VAs helping me out back in the day via Skype. There was I wasn't using Slack or anything like that. And that was the beginning, man. That was really the beginning of what ended up being the journey for like getting into the agency space. I ended up going through divorce, losing it all, sleeping in my car. And that was an interesting point of finding God. And I mean it because I always, I've always subscribed and I've said, Jesus, I surrender to you. I'm your son. I'm saved. But I was living internally as a slave. And it wasn't until I hit rock bottom where I would look at my debit cards and I'd have under $5 and my debate would be like, hey, I need to get my kids a kid's meal, or a dollar item from the dollar menu, and I still got to put gas in the car to go and drop them off.
Wow.
And not having enough money. And then when I drop them off, I go and sleep in my car on the side of the road. That was the moment where I got to know Jesus Christ and God in my life. And, it's a humbling experience to now be able to share it. But on the other side, man, that gave me the grit and just the ability to be able to see and be grateful for what I have. And one thing after another, man, I just immersed myself in the world of digital marketing and got mentors and got clients, have lost a lot of clients, have gotten a lot of clients, have served a lot of people. And here I am, man, in this call. So that's what I'm saying. It's an honor to be here and share the story.
Wow. I didn't know about any of that. And when you look at it from the outside, it all just seems like must be nice. And, Danny Barrera, he runs this, big agency and he's on all these podcasts and, has all these friends. And you never hear that, like, those tough stories. And even I think what's almost the most interesting to me is after you make it and you think that everything's okay, then you like lose it all. I don't know, like the ex-wife, and then, boom, now you can like barely pay for your kids and the gas. Like, that is tough, man. So, I mean, first off, I just want to say I have so much respect for you and the fact that you have persevered and are still where you're at now. But I want to dive into exactly you. So you went to Florida. Tell me like the first year or two that you were at Florida. What happened then?
Everything started down spiraling for me. Like Florida, I mean, I love Florida from the first time. So I came to Florida. There was a presidential debate. I was one of the IT analysts. They would send me out to set up the remote setups, the networks when people have to log in and communicate back to the main headquarters in New York City. Anyways, I came here and I'm like, man, the first time I came here, I think it was Lynn University. I forget the dates and the year, but it was the year a debate was happening there. And I came here, I'm like, man, I want to move here at some point in time. And at that point in time, I was already making some money. So I'm checking out how much is the rent here, Coral Springs. And then I had a friend that had moved somewhere around in South Florida, and I was in constant communication. And I made the leap. I said, you know what, I'm gonna quit a job that at that point in time, it was a healthy job. It was paying me very well, very comfortable. I got to travel a lot. There was a lot of great experiences, but it was a high risk. I mean, my father called me at that point in time. He's like, "Hey, are you sure you wanna leave a job? Like, what are you gonna do next?" My brothers tried to talk me out of it. My mother tried to talk me out of it. But it was a bold move. It was a bold move, and man, I'm glad I took that leap. It was scary. We drove to Florida because we were bringing things and we had shipped stuff. And I remember getting there the first night in the apartment, and just staring at the ceiling. And I'm like, what did I do? Did I do the right thing? Like, what's gonna happen next? And we didn't have the internet still in that apartment, so I had to go to the Starbucks and just log in and check in on stuff. And it was interesting. So for the first year, it was just getting settled in here, and I still had a few clients. There is a company called Salt Armor. I don't know if you've heard of it. Salt Armor. They sell fishing gear, like shirts, scarves and all that. Very popular. So I did, used to go to Craigslist and see who was asking for SEO help or website, and I would just reply to everyone, dude, left and right. I would be sending messages up to 2 a.m. every day. And I was just grinding and hustling, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was just, at that point in time, I was listening to a lot of Warrior Forum, info product vendors that they sold you the dream of, like, you just need to send this one email and you're going to get 20,000 clients. And dude, I subscribed to so many of them, and I'm like, man, but looking back, that was the foundational step. And the second year is when I do believe the financial stress and all of that just started piling up in my relationship. And, at that point in time, everything just started falling apart from the respect of, having mutual respect with my ex-wife, and little by little just disintegrating the relationship. And at that point in time, I look back and I'm grateful for the struggle, because if it wasn't for that, I would not be here today. I would not be where I am today.
Wow.
Yeah.
So things were horrible for at least like those first few years. When did they turn around, and what was that like?
It's a process, man. There wasn't like the one thing. I ended up working at call centers during that transition period at nighttime, doing calling for solar companies out in the West Coast. I'm pitching the solar systems. Hey, hello, is this Mrs. Johnson here? Miss Johnson, this is Danny. I'm here calling with the American program. Seems you might qualify for a solar system. Dude, I would call 200 times a night in the afternoon, right?
Dang.
And I would get paid $20 for every booked call. And during the daytime, I would be calling local businesses, and I'm trying everything. But that stuff, it was all like just trying a lot without focused direction. And I tried to restart my agency with a couple of guys that wanted to start a marketing agency. That was a bad move. So I ended up getting paid less than a minimum wage employee doing all the work. That was pretty bad. Don't recommend it at all. If you have the skill, learn how to sell. And if you don't have the skill, go and work with someone where you can learn the skill, and then you learn the process. And that's what I would recommend if I was speaking to my version back in the day, like seriously. But at that point in time, that agency did not work out. We tried it for a few months. Did not work out. Guys wanted to take all the money, and I'm like, dude, I need to get paid. I'm the one putting all the effort. I want to get paid more. I'm barely making money. I got to pay child support. And Josh Nelson, this point in time, I was staying at my friend's house, and Josh Nelson was in Doral, and that friend's house was in Doral as well. And, I saw one of his Facebook ads, and he's giving away the free book, and he's talking about how you can now build a 7-figure agency with getting into the marketing agency. And I put my information. Somehow I got the book at my friend's house, and I started following him, and it took a little bit of time. And there was this one point in time where he opened up and sold a course. Anyways, I got into the course. Somehow, bro, I ended up attending one of his live events. Now, his live events now, they're 300 people. Back in the day, it was a round table, and there might have been like 6 chairs in his conference room.
No, and
So
you were there?
It was legit. It was legit back in the day.
Okay, so you were part of the initial group of like 10 people.
Yes.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so that might have been, let me see, 2017, 2016, somewhere around there, So it's been a minute. It's been a minute.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we were just talking before this call that's actually how I got my agency model as well. I went to kind of one of the 7-figure agency seminars last year. I don't know, maybe almost a year and a half ago at this point. And I heard about the model, and it just blew my mind that there were, I don't know, at least 50 to 100 people at the event like yourself that were running 7-figure agencies that are just focused on one niche. And most of them are also local businesses. And it just blew my mind. And that, I mean, for me at that point, I was just trying so many different ways to make money. Kind of like, seems like your story of, you were the fragrance store and then, maybe trying to, like the adult toys, whatever. Same with me. Like I tried every single way to make money online. And I just got sick of it. I was at the seminar and I was just like, this seems like it makes sense. Like this seems like it makes sense. And it's also ethical. And I think that's a big part for me and you as well, that it's not just about like, let's, make as much money as possible, whatever we can do. Obviously you want to pay your bills and pay for your kids, but if we are actually helping good businesses, I feel like that's what it's all about, right?
And end of the day, that's at the end of the day, you learn how to serve people, serve them well, go above and beyond. And look, we all make mistakes. Like I've made thousands and thousands and thousands. And I tell my team, hey, let's not be afraid of making mistakes. But let's take our clients' businesses seriously because their livelihoods are in our hands. So we carry that with a higher sense of responsibility, and that's it, man. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Totally agree. Yeah.
So in terms of your agency journey, you started about Contractor Click at least. So was there
concrete marketing crew? So I niched down. Continuing the story, Josh Nelson. I decided to go the concrete route. My father was in the trades. So he made it easier. My father went with the Lord a few years ago, but since 98, I never got to see my father. Like he went back to El Salvador. I was here with my mother, my brothers, and he could never get back here. We couldn't travel because of the legal situation, legal status. And I never got to see him. But anyway, some of the few memories I had with my father were pickup trucks, man. On the weekends, we're bringing food to the guys that are building, houses. They're putting together commercial spaces, and then he was also a polisher towards 96, 97. He was one of the only polishers in Central America, Guatemala, El Salvador. So that was a big deal back then. The people that do the concrete polishing, it was fairly new at that point in time. And I remember, he'd go to the shopping centers that wanted polishing, the airport wanted polishing, and it was a big deal back in the day. I didn't understand it until now. And so anyways, that like serving all these different clients taught me one thing. I was working at the time when I got with Josh, I was working with attorneys, medical. So I was, at that point in time, I already had a client base, a small client base, maybe, I don't know, $6,000-$7,000 a month. By the time I paid child support and my VA, I don't think I kept maybe $200, at the end of the day, maybe what I paid Josh for the membership at the time. But anyways, it was good. So I was on a coaching call, and this guy was just asking me. He's like, what do you want to do? Who do you want to serve? And I said, I know who I don't want to serve. And I don't want to have to put a suit and a tie and, to be with attorneys. I've never been able to do well with.
I agree. I'm always wearing this shirt. Yeah.
Like I don't want to have to be a clown or medical, and I that's the one thing that I got right out of that entire experience was just choosing one thing and then just going all in. And at that time, there might have been one, or I don't want to say two agencies, but one true agency that had been that had over 50 clients in the decorative concrete space. So concrete marketing crew. And we still have concrete marketing crew. We're generating clients through there, but the rebrand was a strategic rebrand, which that just happened this year, February of this year specifically. And that's to open it up to more niches. We have the formula that we've been able to replicate in multiple niches. And now there's high demand. Now, we're seeing the possibilities and to be able to 10X. But the foundations is what helped me out with concrete marketing crew, knowing how to build systems, processes, understand KPIs, scaling, hiring, recruiting, training people, which that in itself is a business, and learning how to serve clients at the same time. So everything's kind of like recipes upon recipes, and that's the beginning points of concrete marketing crew, and then moving on to Contractor Click.
Cool. Yeah, no, I love that you have the kind of background in local business as well, because it you can kind of feel it, right? Like the same way my dad has a flooring company and my mom has a therapy business. And I've like growing up was helping them, like doing all these things, maybe helping my dad, like putting the floor, watching how it's done, whatever.
Yeah,
and guys
yeah.
are coming to the house, all these things. So there's kind of like almost like a nostalgic feel to it. And, you feel for these guys as well, because I mean, also I've seen my parents get burned by tons of different agencies, and, actually what it's like. Like, these are real people, real businesses, and they're almost always good people. I feel like the local business space, I don't know what it is, but it's always good people. So
they're trying, man.
Yeah, no, exactly.
They're trying. And this is the responsibility I like to carry with my team. It's like, hey, like seriously, man, someone's making a bet on themselves, hiring people to service their clientele and be able to bring in and create income for themselves and their livelihoods. And it does hurt me to see how many people just go in knowing that there is a need for marketing and they don't care. Like, they truly don't care. They just want to stack the MRR. And every single time, I've made it my personal mission, every single time a client has come through our desk and the marketing hasn't worked out for them, man, I'm like, dude, I'll do it for free, because I want to figure out what didn't work. Where did we drop the ball? Where have the ad campaigns been stubborn? Where have the Facebook, Google ads not worked out? The SEO and all those things became our guiding principles, which is what we call now the STAR values. Stewardship is the number one. It's like, dude, if we can't be stewards of the opportunity, that's a big deal for us. So that's a big one for me. I always carry that with a lot of responsibility, and it's helped us out improve our sales process too, and discover who's not the right fit for us, because not everyone is the right fit for us. And that comes back to, like, it's not just about the MRR. We want to be entrusted with the responsibility and be able to deliver. And if we can't deliver, and sometimes the delivery, just to give you an example, and I'll hand it back to you. I had this guy that came to us. He was in the middle of nowhere in Philadelphia, like quite literally in the middle of nowhere. Dude, we rank him number one for every city, every term, decorative concrete, stamped concrete, concrete patios, concrete pool decks. I mean, you name it, hundreds and hundreds of keywords. And we're like, man, we're crushing it. Our team is high-fiving each other. We're like, dude, we're crushing it. This guy, we're going to take him to the next level. We're having a call 6 months later that this guy is barely getting any leads from the SEO, and it's because he's in the middle of nowhere. So we should have done the due diligence of looking at the audience and the service areas, the targeting. So that one client, painful as it was, it was a big lesson for us in the discovery process of the sales process, of understanding, hey, maybe my territory is stubborn, and if I want to go and get work, I got to go out where people are actually demanding for my work. So it got us to rethink and to do a much better job in the sales, and we tried to minimize those mistakes as much as possible. But that's just an example of the lessons I've learned along the way with my team,
Awesome. Yeah, no, I 100% believe that. Only take on clients if you can actually help them. So I actually made a post about this a few days ago that I got on a call with this pest control company owner, more so wildlife, but kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
And he runs an $800,000 a year business. Doing great. But really, actually, his main problem was hiring, and he's getting so much work that he can't even take it on. And also, he's in such a small area that maybe there's only 5 to 10,000 people in the area.
Wow.
And also he was only doing wildlife. So I was telling him, I was being straight up. I was like, look, if we're only doing wildlife and we're only targeting this area with like 5,000 people, I can't help you with SEO, because even if I got you all of the volume, I ranked you number one on every single keyword, you might get 10, 20 calls a month, whatever it is. But I want to make sure, like, my goal is to provide, 10x ROI on whatever you're paying me. So
that's good.
If I can't do that, then I'm going to be straight up about it. So, but I did tell him, okay, that's great. Now you're looking to expand into pest control, and you're looking to expand into this nearby city that has 100,000 people. So when you do both of those things, then come back to me and I can help you do that. But like, I just can't take you on if I know that I can't help you.
Yeah, that's good. And that's the best policy, hands down. Tell it to my sales guy. Like, seriously, there's no reason that it's not worth the MRR that you're gonna add for what, for 2, 3, 6 months, and then have that client go out. The Facebook groups, they go wild once you don't get a return. And that's a big thing about the reputation is, man, it's hard to build the reputation. It's to get those repeated reviews. I don't know about you, as an agency, it's been one of the toughest jobs. Just to get, in clients that are happy. It's like, dude, come on, man. Do you want me to send you a $100 gift card? What's it going to take,
Yeah.
But anyways, like to be able to build the reputation and then have one or two guys go out there and constantly bash you because you dropped the ball in this. So we're constantly just getting feedback from our clients. And to be able to know that those key data points, man, you sleep good at night, you're doing the best that you can. And that's the other thing, is setting realistic expectations. End of the day, right?
That's good.
If you offer SEO, what's the realistic expectation? I hear guys nowadays promising, hey, in 2 weeks, we're going to have you up. I'm like, good luck, buddy.
That's how long it takes to index.
Good luck. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous. And yeah, no, I was just talking to one guy recently. Again, all of these guys have been burned so many times. It seems to me, especially in the pest control industry, I don't know what it is. Like, there's a few agencies that are just preying on these guys. But this guy was just like, look, I'm cool with waiting, 3-6 months, whatever it is, but I just need clear expectations, because everyone is promising the world and then doesn't fulfill. So how do you guys go about that with your agency? Because you guys are successful, you're doing it right. What do you guys do in terms of setting expectations?
So setting expectations is, we don't just do SEO. We do paid advertising. So customer acquisition through paid ads, Facebook ads, and Google ads, which now we have the YouTube advertising through YouTube Shorts. So leading with the paid ads has made that conversation a lot easier than getting someone to invest for a long time up front. And I want you to also understand, there was a point in time where my agency was, 80, 90%. Concrete Marketing Crew was founded in SEO. That's what I would sell. That's all I sold. But as you scale and you start getting more clients, some clients need results now. And that's the need to have an in-house, ideally in-house media buyer, Google Ads specialist that's lead generation focused. In your industry, you should have the LSAs. So that's a big one, right? Yeah. In concrete, there's no LSA. LSA, it's still to be found unless you're doing foundation repair or whatnot. But, those are the small things. So you set the expectation with, okay, what's the average cost per lead? What's it doing right now? The other thing is not hype it up. I know that if someone else has served that client pretty well, our averages, we're not going to lower the cost per lead by 5% or more. Usually if it's the same ad account, we have good landing pages. We know the landing pages convert. they have good targeting, if we have good targeting, so I always try to let the client know, hey, the first month is discovery month, is the month where we gather as much details as we can. We refine the process so that second month and third month, you should be expecting better results from the paid ads and also from the organic. The other thing is we let the clients know, hey, if we're doing Google ads, we'll have the best converting keywords. Plus we have the Google Search Console and the Google Business Profile. And those are the best money keywords that we should be optimizing for. Because back in the day, we would be basing our keyword research based on just SEMrush and Ahrefs and all that. But you come to find out the best converting keywords, you're going to find them on the Google ads and your Google business listing, right? Like that's gold right there for our clients. So we look at that. And we let our clients know we need to invest some money on Google Ads so that we can get some data. And if you have Google Ads, great. Let's pull that data and let's look at the conversions and let's look at the best territories. So this way you know what city pages to build. This way you know where what's trending where, and that's the plan, right? So we start there, and just let them know by month 6. It depends on the website. If the website is in a very competitive territory, if we need to do link acquisition, if we need to get guest posts, if we need to have a link building budget, we let the clients know, hey, this is not going to be cheap. Now, if we go to locations, concrete is not as complicated as pest control, I would say. Pest control, you have competition. You have guys that, and plus a lot of exact match domains. In concrete, you have partial matches, but it's different niches. So for us, that's it. If we need a link building budget, we set the realistic expectation based on acquisition. And I always like to tell my team, let's let our clients know what we can accomplish. Say if we can accomplish something in 4 months, we let our clients know it's going to take 6 months. So this way, if something doesn't go right, we can get a link live or whatever, right? We still got another month or so to give us some breathing room. And the other thing is giving clients something to look at. I have an SEO workbook. I'd be more than glad to share it with you and your audience. If they want to have one, you should have an SEO workbook where you can track the execution items. Because in SEO, you got to track the leading metrics, whatever it is that you're implementing, and the lagging is the analytics. That's what happened after the fact. But what are you doing? That's the variables that you're executing, whether it's on-page technical, speed, whatever it is that you want to troubleshoot, right? What are you doing that's affecting this result here? A lot of times we're focusing on the rank trackers, and we're not looking at, hey, what exactly did we implement here? What was the silo structure? Like, all these little things that make a big difference. So those are the impact factors we like to look at. And then we let the clients know, and we teach them, just like what we're talking about right here. Hey, do you see this right here? This is going to affect this set of keywords or this theme or this specific service category that we're looking for. And then we deliver. And then next month or 2 months later, we let them know, hey, for the next 60 days, we're going to focus on this other category. Just to break it down here for our listeners, I'm going to use concrete. Is it cool if I use concrete?
Yeah, go.
So in concrete, you have driveways, you have patios, you have pool decks. So we ask our clients, okay, what's the main service you want to, just push out there? If you could only do one thing that's profitable for you. For some guys, it's pool decks. Others, it's driveways. So a guy that says driveway, great. So we tell the client we're going to dominate for driveways. That's our number one goal. We want to get you wins, and that's it. And then we figure out, what do we need as far as backlinks, content, etc. to get the client. We show the client what we're going to execute on. We get to execute, and then we report back in 60 days. And once we start to achieve momentum, we let the client know, hey, we're planning for the next phase. Now let's focus on pool decks. That's secondary, right? Okay, great. And right alongside, you start building some city pages, etc. That's the website side. Now, as far as on the Google Business Profile, the maps ranking, it's proximity based. Some clients are in the middle of nowhere. That's where the warehouse is, and they want to target some other. We just let them know, hey, you got to get an address there. Let's figure out a way to get, a DBA set up in that specific location and get an address there, get a bill. a utility bill sent there, get it verified, put a truck outside, take a picture and a video, upload it. And we walk them through the basics, and that happens a lot. That tends to happen a lot. And then as far as expectations, you got to see how many people are ranking on the top three. Usually is three. And then the average review count. If the average review count is over 100 reviews, and this is brand new business profile, we're not going to let the client know, hey, you're going to just dominate in 3 months. Could we send traffic and CTR campaigns to that client? Sure thing. But once we stop the CTR, they're going to go and be in the middle of nowhere, and Google's going to catch up. So the question is, how do we want to do this thing, right? So nowadays we're more for the client posting their work, pictures, etc., just being more involved in their Google listings and training their crew members to upload a couple of projects, pictures, and getting reviews, and that's a big involvement, from the account management.
Awesome. Well, that was awesome. There's so many little golden nuggets in there. I'm sure everyone who's listening might have to go back and listen back.
Sure.
I'll kind of piggyback off what you were saying at the end there, is that, for me as well, I totally believe in just going white hat SEO now. I think that Google is getting, and has been, incredibly smart, again, with like the helpful content update, with the March core update. They're cracking down on everything. Google is incredibly smart, and it's also incredibly sensitive. I've heard tons of stories of people getting their Google business profiles removed, or, the website gets de-indexed, whatever it is. Me as an agency, the last thing I can have, maybe we can lose a little bit of traffic or keywords. We cannot have the website go down, or the Google business profile. Both of those are huge customer acquisition channels for especially pest control. So I'm a total believer in white hat. It's like, guys, no fake reviews, no fake clicks, no fake backlinks. We have to do everything legit.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's your business. And there are some clients that want us to try stuff out that, hey, so-and-so person told me that they could do this in 30 days. And here's the reality. It's nothing is going to beat the real thing, which is the real human traction. Yeah. Now, if some of you, let's just put it out there, you haven't gotten any reviews in the last 3-4 years, and you have a new competitor that's all of a sudden getting a couple of reviews, and maybe they have trickles, and now you're wondering, how come they're ranking and I'm not? Well, you just got to look at how much movement has been happening. The other thing is, you can encourage your customers, like quite literally tell your customers as they're calling you, you let them know, hey, by the way, we're going to send a tech out there to check your property. I'm going to send you here a link to your phone. Check out our Google reviews, right? Just the mere fact that someone's clicking on that with their phone, and now they open it up and maybe they click on the reviews and they look through your post. Just those specific moves right there are going to help you get engagement. So it's not like you need to come up with some fake CTR campaign. The one I just explained right now, it's perfectly fine. So you should be using that. Your admin assistant, whoever's entering the phone, they should be working with you in developing this strategy, right, of distribution of your Google business link. And you can share different links. You can share a review link. You can share the profile link. You can share the actual Google URL, right? A post link within the Google listing. So whatever it is that you want to maximize, that we do help our clients. Those are little creative strategies. Do they significantly make you number one? No. But they actually do move the needle in a safe way. Safe way, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, no, I mean, at the end of the day, it's really just that SEO is an amplifier of who you already are,
That's
right?
it.
So if you have a terrible business, if everyone's saying bad things about you, if you have terrible reviews, maybe you don't have a website, like just everything is wrong. I don't want to take you as a client. I'm sure you don't either, because there's no SEO that we can do to recover you being a horrible business, because Google sees those signals of people clicking off the website or leaving a horrible review or I don't know, potentially, messaging their friends on Facebook, and now there's a whole Facebook thread of like saying how bad XYZ pest control company is, or whatever company it is. It really just comes down to being a good business. And then
Yes.
luckily for me, if you already have a great business, then SEO is pretty easy. We
Yes.
just have to demonstrate you being a great business.
Totally agree. Yeah. 100%.
I wanted to, again, back to your journey. When did things really start to pick up for you? So, maybe you started about 7-8 years ago. Well, actually, you were doing the original niche agency before, but when did you really start to pick up traction and kind of see like, oh, okay, things are actually, coming together here?
Yeah. I mean, at that point in time, after going through the reinvention process, for the lack of a better word, which is really what it was, I just committed to find wins and success, and I reinvested pretty much anything that I was earning. I reinvested in myself. So back in the day, Grant Cardone was coming out, I would consume his YouTube videos and as much as I could. Brian Tracy's another one, The Psychology of Selling. If anyone wants to learn how to sell like that, I think that's probably my number one pick.
Wow.
There was another gentleman that was coming out. His name is Jeremy Miner.
Yeah.
Dude, back in the day, he had 7th level, but he would run calls in Skype. That was 2018, right? Between 2016 to 2018. And I was one of the early individuals there on the Skype calls, and we'd get on a call on Skype and we'll go over the scripts. It's still the same, by the way, which it works. So I just leveraged that, and I would be calling. So I would have my top 100, top 500s. I would message people on Facebook, on their Facebook profile pages. Whoever responded, I would follow up with them, and it's just following the process. Appointment set, discovery calls, present, and close. And then that became the journey, and at some point in time I hired a VA, and the VA would do the setting up front, right? Just sending emails back and forth, following up with people, and then a sales assistant. And that became the foundation, and I joined an association, American Society of Concrete Contractors. I got involved there. Different Facebook groups. I got in touch with the administrators. I'm like, how can I add value? I have presentations I can share with your people. What can I do for you? And that was a big thing. I don't like to just go out and pillage and get from a niche.
Yeah.
What I haven't given. Like what you're doing right now, Danny, it's what you're supposed to do. You bring value to people. You help them create wins so that when they look at the opportunity to invest in you, it's a no-brainer. Like Danny's been showing up for me, and now he's giving me the opportunity to be here on the strategy, and he's actually got a plan. Of course I'm going to invest in you. You see that? I think we got it backwards with this internet marketing community, which is I'm sick and tired of, by the way. Seriously.
Me too.
Sick and tired. Because it gives us a bad name. It's like we're going to screw people over, right? This is not, and look, I respect everyone. This is not a Tai Lopez, SMMA on the weekend, and you launch your ads and you get people. All those, a lot of people, good people get started there. But this is not a quick get rich quick scheme, man. This is not one of those. At least that's not how I treated it. And giving back is another thing, because the more I give back, the more I get back, and the more I give back, the more I get back. So there's something that happens there at a higher level. So I'm always going above and beyond for people in the industry. Wherever I can serve, I serve. If I can't, I can't. But I support people. Get involved in the trade shows. My wife started joining me. She ended up quitting my current wife. I got remarried. She ended up quitting her teaching job, and now she's the owner of Contractor Click. So, it's been a journey, man. And if I was to pinpoint when did things really take off, I think when I figured out the sales process and how to be able to build value the right way, how to package a program that people that delivered what was promised and was repeatable and duplicatable, because that's the key thing in an agency space, is knowing that you can replicate and duplicate the recipe, and knowing who not to bring on as a client. So all those little things clicking together just create this opportunity to go vertical, because it's more scalable, right? So until you get to that point of figuring that out, you might sell a lot of clients, but then you might be losing on the recurring, on the churn. But if you figure out retention, which is delivering service, customer happiness, all that, you can deliver your services and for the right client. Now, like I shared before, that's Contractor Click. Now we've mastered the recipes, and now we're able to implement it for multiple niches. I don't recommend you start out with multiple niches, because you're just multiplying the amount of learning that you got to do. And one person or a small team, dude, it's going to take a long time to be able to do that at scale. That would be my recommendation. So if I was starting all over again, I would still niche down, find the one, get incredibly good, and look for niches that are related or that have the same customer base. So for example, I would not go into pest control, because we're home improvement, like at the core, that your home service. The service process is different, the way you treat the customer. So for now, like, our client sales journey is similar. We got foundation repair. That's out there. That's probably in the urgent, niches. Aside from that, everyone else is pretty much interrelatable in one way, shape, or form.
Definitely. So, yeah, no, that's a good point of kind of adjacent niches where, like, for me, next might be like lawn care and, like weed removal. And obviously now I'm kind of always been in wildlife, but now I've especially been
that's awesome.
Expanding into wildlife as well. But I wanted to ask you, so you've had over 500 clients in your journey as an agency owner. Tell me about that sales process that you were talking about, and, how have you improved it, and what does it look like?
Yeah, I just look at my hair because I still have hair.
That's good.
I haven't lost my hair. So look, the ultimate sales process is in truly serving people and coming from a heart of service. Because if I cannot serve you something that you don't want or desire, and I cannot help you and deliver what is it that you want at the core, that's at the essence of what it is. I've also studied the straight line persuasion, and there's a funny line there. Sell me this pen. But the thing is, if you don't want the pen, what would you want someone to force you? Like, that's not what we're doing here. So, so the first thing is there's got to be a need. And that's the thing, is you can find needs. The need is not always more leads. The need for a baby boomer is much different than the need for someone that's younger. What's the difference? The one that's younger is going to be more risk tolerant. They're going to go all in, balls to walls. They're going to work 20 hours a day. The baby boomer is in preservation mode. So what I'm selling to this person, even their transition periods, even the way they make decisions, is different. So understanding that human psychology, and understanding what is it that makes that human tick, and the front end is very important. So what motivated the person to hop on a call with you? What motivated them to click on that contact button? What's interesting them, and why now? Like, why is now a relevant time for you to start investigating and getting to this discovery of what's out there? And then looking at what's in front of them. Okay, it's what they're doing right now, working for them. And to your case, Danny, like the prospect that you mentioned, you did the right thing. Not sell that guy, right? He's good. He's just got a different problem, maybe at a different time. Maybe it's not a not never, it's just a not now situation. So discovering the relevancy of that problem, and can you solve it? If you can't solve it, just have options for that individual, because those will become eventually individuals that will brag about you and say, you know what, he didn't sell me, but he pointed me in the right direction. So I think that's a good one, is always have relevant sources to point your prospects to. If you can't serve them, who else, whether it's a competitor, whether it's, we always send people, right? We do offer exclusivity in territories for our complete programs, which is SEO and so forth. Sure, we can take multiples, but we just take one. And that's one thing. It's like a lot of times it's like, hey, we can't serve you, but there's these other three companies here that we know could probably serve you. And if you want to learn how to do it on your own, we point them towards our YouTube channel. So serving them at the core, you know, and then figuring out the right solution for them. What does that look like? What does a timeline look like for them? That's important, because ultimately that leads to a relationship. And as you build relationships and you get better at this, now that's it. It's consistency. Now you have a relationship. Can you show up consistently when you said you would? Are you gonna, you know, ghost the client once they're in the door and you've collected first month and go and party and show pictures that you're hanging out in Bahamas and you know, they get upset at that. I get a lot of complaints. Hey, I hired this guy and, you know, now he seems to be traveling everywhere. And I'm like, dude.
Yeah,
right?
no, that's classic.
So we're a company too. So we sell hard on, I've always, even if it's been me and my wife now, me and Maddie, or we had our team overseas, and we've always shared with the clients our team structure and who's going to be helping them out. And just letting them know it's not just me. We're working for you. We're working hard. We're bringing innovation. And so the sales process is just figuring out the key solution, and then they got to sell themselves. Like when you learn how to present that in a persuasive way, that's just gathering data, facts, seeing their emotional state with it and helping them regulate that with a solution, you kind of become this trusted advisor for them. And at the core, man, I think that is pretty much it if I was to boil it down.
Okay, cool. So yeah, basically helping them make the best decision for themselves instead of, you know, sell, you know, buy it, you know, money back guaranteed, you know, genuinely helping them make the best decision and showing them, but letting them come to that on their own instead of forcing it.
Yes. You summarize it better than me. You should be teaching it.
Okay. Another question regarding like agency stuff, especially I'm so interested because I'm an agency owner, is where do you find most of your leads coming from for your agency? So, you know, maybe, you know, you guys are doing cold calls or, you know, the YouTube channel like you were talking about. Where are the most leads coming for you guys?
YouTube. YouTube is certainly one of my favorite ones. YouTube leads, I find that they convert at the highest levels for us. I don't know, maybe 80%. I don't know if you get that. But if you do have YouTube, so for us, we do have YouTube campaigns running. And right now we're running a campaign for the economic times. And, you know, if a business is struggling and they don't have a plan, we have a system that can help them out. So it's a direct response ad. And what we're noticing is people are going to our channel afterwards, they're finding us, and then they're booking a time. Like those are like the hot. That also creates Google searches. So we've correlated anytime we're running Facebook ads, aside from, we're running YouTube ads. Aside from Facebook ads, we get more organic clicks. So it all comes together. And then we have our Facebook and Instagram, where Instagram is our second from YouTube. So YouTube, Instagram, and then Facebook ads. And that's in a nutshell. And then we have our growing email list. If someone gets into our email list, then it's just follow up. Just that. The email newsletter is a good one for us. That brings us 1 or 2 clients a month consistently without doing anything else. Yeah, aside from everything else.
Good to know. And then another question I wanted to ask that we touched on a little bit earlier is, you know, not just how do we sell clients, but how do we keep clients? How, like, what is your strategy for retaining clients?
Deliver results, deliver clear communication, and be there for them, and be a trusted advisor. So being the trusted advisor is you want to constantly be touching base and right here checking in. What's the pulse this month? Hey, talk to me about your sales numbers. I understand you got this many leads this month, but you're struggling with closing now. What's happening? Do you have a sales process that's optimized, not optimized? Let's listen to some of the leads together. Let's see how we can do that better, right? So I think communication is a big one. And if you did a good job up front in understanding how they buy, if they're a shiny object, so here's a good one for you. If they've been jumping from one agency to the next in the last 6 months, and you're the fourth agency, guess what's going to happen in your world? They're going to churn no matter what. Now, if that's happened, say they've been with the last agency for the past 3 years or 2 years or even 1 year, that's their lifetime. So you got to be, have that discernment in knowing, do I really want to take this guy that's just going to be here for 60 days and just try something else, right? So that's a big one. For retention, it's knowing who you're dealing with. Their style of communication, that's another big one. It's some people like to read and other people like to listen. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Like there's those two modalities. So what you can do is Loom videos does an okay job, but some people like these reports that are lengthy, and that's how they understand value. And other people understand value when you get on a Zoom call with them or here. And if you're not available here, the value goes down and they're like, I'm paying this guy to do SEO for me, but I don't know what he's doing. Meanwhile, you're delivering top-notch results and they don't see it. So value is always to that individual. So you just got to know what value is to them. That increases lifetime, and then understanding their niche so that you can help them and facilitate information, optimizing sales process, appointment setting, whatever it is. So just being a good source of assistance in their business growth. It's the biggest driver of retention. It's not a simple answer. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I love that perspective. I love that perspective and frame that you're more so like a partner. And the way that you're saying, like, if they've churned with their past agencies, then they're going to churn with you. It's literally like a relationship. Like that, not in the extent that like business partners, but you should have like an actual relationship and partnership with your agency. Like it's a big deal to pay an agency $2,000, $5,000, even like $10,000 a month. It's a big deal. It's like you're hiring almost like several employees with that amount of money. So you're expecting some ROI. And, I mean, me as an agency owner, I want to have all my clients for the rest of their lives and the rest of however long they have their business. And, maybe they exit, or maybe the best step for them is to then hire in-house, and then, I can help them transition into that. But, regardless of treating it like a partnership instead of just like a get rich quick, or, maybe just like a productized service, and, I'll deliver this result and like now, okay, no, we're just done. But no, like a lifelong relationship, you're saying.
Yes. And it can evolve too. So you can have multiple programs. So, hey, this is a program that you can start with us, and this would be the next level. And you should have a couple of products in your pipeline that you can assist them with, because look, when you solve one problem, you will create another problem for them. It's the natural life cycle of life and business. You solve one problem, now you create a different problem. So you got to always think ahead into what that looks like. Maybe recruiting is that problem. Guess what? If you have high level and you offer your clients high level, it doesn't hurt to create a pipeline for them and train them and build training. And now that becomes a resource allocation in your situation as an agency. So for us, that's what we do. It's like, hey, we notice that you're actually struggling with keeping up with the jobs. Do you have anything running? Oh, you don't? Okay, well, let's turn on some recruiting ads, and now you can start having conversations. And now you can let AI do some vetting for you. So that's just, understanding that life cycle of your client. And then once you master it very well for your niche, then it's easier to take that recipe and bring it to another niche. That's what I meant by the recipes. Is there's so much that can be done here, and that's why I don't jump into the home service. And we've made the decision to be strategic about that for now, because there's no need. We have enough to help our clients with. There's enough with what we have. Plenty. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say there, but I'd like to ask you one last question. And that is, throughout your whole journey in the entrepreneurship, all this hardship, finally come out on the other side of the tunnel. What is one of the biggest lessons you've learned in the past few years or so?
Biggest lesson is to stop lying to yourself. as an individual. Take a deep look in the mirror and stop lying. And here's what I mean by that is, a lot of times we say we want something, but the question is, do you? Because the moment that you start executing, either you create excuses for yourself of why you're not doing that which you said you would do, and you would commit to doing it. You want to build a business? Guess what? It's going to bring its pain, its chaos. But that's what you said you wanted to do, is to build a business. You want multi-seven figures? Like this whole thing now, you know, with social media and popularity and trends and all this, it's like, you're not going to be Hormozy, dude, overnight. And if that's what you want to do, then guess what? You better be willing to pay the price and not just be another monkey just dancing around and trying to get views and hack the system. You've got to pay the price, because ultimately, if you continue to lie to yourself, and this is my biggest lesson, because my rebuilding time was all about becoming truthful for myself and getting to know that man that I wanted to be. And if whatever I said I was committed to doing and executing, I was willing to pay the price. And that's the one thing. It's my word, and my commitment has got to match. So this is why I have no problem when someone is dealing with me and I'm either coaching and consulting with them, or maybe I'm selling them something. Dude, I have no problem leaning in. Why? Because we're going to get to the truth of the core. You know, because most times when it comes to the closing table, if you are the man that you said you are, and you make the decisions and you're leading the business, but all of a sudden when someone's asking you to sign the dotted line and you're like, well, I got to ask my wife, do you? Or do you not trust yourself to make that decision? So you've got to make your due diligence, but be real with yourself. Have that level of integrity. Truthfulness brings a lot of weight. And in this economy, in this world that we live in, you just don't know what's real and what's not. It's so easy to make something up, you know, with AI. I mean, you truly, within a couple of years, you're not going to know whether this podcast was an AI version or not, seriously. So I think, I don't think, let me correct myself. I know for myself, finding that truth and certainty and being able to map that out for myself, it's the biggest thing. And now I do get to serve other men who are going through a divorce transition, who are living in chaos, who they're like, man, I don't know what's going on in my life. I don't have certainty. I don't have confidence. I'm losing it all. I get to realign them and say, you know what? I was there. Let's have a conversation. Let's get aligned. Let's get focused. Let's get real with what you really want and the reasons why you want that, because that's another thing. And let's put in the work to make forward progress. And at the core, that liberates a lot of the stories that are floating around, which might be stories that you might have lived through some things in life, and etc. And ultimately, when you find the ultimate truth in your life, you're going to find God. And when you find God within, you live in freedom. And when you live in freedom, you can have it all. And that's the journey I'm on right now.
Wow.
Freedom.
Danny Barrera, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, that was a great closing to this podcast. Stop lying to yourself. In the end, find God, follow God. So great. I personally learned so much from you on this podcast. I thought it was really valuable, and I just find your story so inspirational, and especially you as a successful agency owner, and me kind of more as in the beginning of my journey. It's so cool to see someone like you absolutely crushing it in the field, doing a great job, actually helping people, and just being a great figure in the space. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Danny. It was such a pleasure to have you, and
Danny, it's been an honor here for you and your audience, and you're doing great, man. Keep up the amazing work.
Thank you, man.
Looking forward to see you at the top.
I appreciate you, man. And where can people find you online? Social media, anything that you're selling?
You can connect with me at Irreplaceable Father right now. Like I said towards the end, is I'm working with men who are going through a transition in their life, who are uncertain about where they're leading themselves. as a man, as a father, and they want to find the alignment, get calibrated, man, find the purpose and the fire in their lives. So at Irreplaceable Father on Instagram, irreplacablefather.com, and whatever I can do to serve you and your audience, man, you just let me know. I'm here for
Awesome,
you guys.
Man. Okay, so agency is Contractor.Click. You're
Yes.
on LinkedIn. What other social platforms are you on?
And okay, Contractor Click, we're at everywhere. YouTube,
Okay.
Contractor Click, Instagram, Facebook, you name it.
What about you? I want to follow you.
Oh, it's Danny Barrera.
Okay.
It's
and
Danny
what
Barrera.
platforms are you most active on?
You know, that's a good one. Instagram, I would say, is where I put the stories up just about on a daily basis. I do my morning Bible reading, and if I find something that's I feel God speaking to me, I just post a story in there, and that's the most updated version. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, it's so good to have you again, Danny. I think this is a great podcast, and yeah, thank you so much for coming on and spending your time with me.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
God bless, man. Thank you.
God bless.